There is a hidden wound inside you that resists rest. It's not just a habit or a choice. It's not laziness or lack of discipline. It's a survival mechanism that has been protecting you for years. When you were young, your environment taught you that safety came from staying alert, that love came from being useful, that your worth was tied to your productivity. Your nervous system learned to equate rest with danger. And now, as an adult, you carry that same wound, preventing you from fully embracing the healing power of rest. Rest feels unsafe because your body remembers a time when it had to stay awake to survive, when you were supposed to be loved, but instead you were left in emotional or physical discomfort, when you were supposed to feel safe, but instead you had to be hypervigilant. Your body adapted by becoming a machine. It learned to ignore its own cries for rest, for peace, for comfort. It learned to push through exhaustion as if exhaustion were a sign of strength. And now, even when you consciously want to slow down, your subconscious pulls you back into the whirlwind. The hidden trauma behind burnout is often misunderstood. People think burnout comes from working too hard, but it comes from a much deeper place. It comes from the belief that your worth is tied to your productivity. It comes from the fear that if you stop, something terrible will happen. It comes from the unresolved tension between your drive to achieve and your need to heal. It comes from a part of you that still believes you must earn your right to exist. When you try to rest, your mind races. It tells you you're not doing enough. It tells you you're falling behind. It tells you that rest is a luxury you can't afford. It tells you that the moment you slow down, everything will collapse. But these are not truths. They are echoes of your past. They are the remnants of a younger you, trapped in survival mode, still trying to keep the household stable, still trying to prevent the chaos, still trying to be enough. This wound is not just physical. It's emotional. It's mental. It's spiritual. It's a disconnection from your true self. When you're always pushing forward, you lose touch with your inner world. You lose the ability to hear your intuition. You lose the connection to your soul's purpose. You lose the wisdom that comes from stillness. And your burnout becomes a symptom of a deeper disconnection, a separation from the essence of who you really are. Many people don't realize that their inability to rest is a form of self-protection. You push yourself because resting feels like exposing yourself to danger. You push yourself because stopping means facing the emotions you've been running from. You push yourself because in your history, the moment you became vulnerable, someone took advantage. But what if the real danger is in ignoring your inner cries? What if the real threat is in staying on this relentless path, disconnecting further from your essence with each passing day? The body keeps score. It remembers every time you ignored your need for rest. It remembers every time you pushed through exhaustion. It remembers every time you chose productivity over peace. And now, your body is speaking to you through burnout. It's not punishing you. It's calling you home. Burnout is a spiritual emergency. It's your soul's way of saying that something fundamental has been lost, that you've been living in a way that violates your deepest nature, that you've been abandoning yourself in service of a world that doesn't know how to value rest, that you've been so focused on becoming that you've forgotten how to simply be. When you resist rest, you resist healing. You resist integrating the lessons your soul has been trying to teach you. You resist the transformation that comes from truly listening to your inner world. You resist the possibility that you might be enough, right now, exactly as you are, without doing anything more. Another layer of this wound is the fear of losing control. When you rest, you hand over the reins. You stop trying to manage every outcome. You stop trying to predict every possible failure. You stop trying to prevent the chaos by staying one step ahead. And this feels terrifying. Because control was how you kept the chaos at bay. Control was how you survived. But true rest means surrendering that control, trusting that the world will not fall apart when you do, believing that you are safe enough to let go. There is also the societal pressure that reinforces this wound. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, that equates worth with productivity, that labels rest as weakness, that celebrates those who sacrifice their health for their ambitions. That teaches us that our value comes from what we produce, not from who we are. But this is a lie. This is a collective wound that we've all internalized. Rest is not the absence of strength. It is the foundation of resilience. It is the space where your true strength can grow. It is where your soul remembers itself. When you understand this, something shifts inside you. You stop seeing rest as a luxury. You start seeing it as a necessity. You start understanding that rest is not something you earn through productivity. Rest is your birthright. Rest is your medicine. Rest is the gateway to your wholeness. The journey to healing begins with acknowledgement. It's about understanding that your resistance to rest is not a flaw. It's a trauma response. It's a protective mechanism that once kept you safe. And once you see it this way, you can begin to forgive yourself. You can begin to see that your relentless drive was never about ambition. It was about survival. It was about trying to be enough in a world that made you feel like you never were. Healing also involves retraining your nervous system. It means learning to sit with discomfort. It means allowing yourself small moments of peace, even when your mind screams against it. It means creating rituals of rest that feel safe, that feel earned, that feel deserved. It means slowly teaching your body that rest is not danger, that slowing down is not failure, that peace is not a precursor to catastrophe. Spiritually, rest is a return to wholeness. It's a reconnection with the parts of you that have been neglected. It's a remembering of who you are beneath all the doing. When you resist rest, you resist this remembering. You resist the integration of your shadow self. You resist the healing that comes from accepting all of who you are. There is also the grief that must be honored. Grief for the childhood you didn't get to have. Grief for the rest you were denied. Grief for the years you spent pushing yourself beyond your limits. Grief for the connection to yourself that you lost along the way. This grief is not weakness. It is the beginning of healing. It is the acknowledgement that something was taken from you, and now you are reclaiming it. So what can you do? First, acknowledge your resistance without judgment. Notice when your body tightens at the thought of rest. Notice when your mind races with reasons why you can't slow down. This tension is a clue. It points to the parts of you that are still in survival mode. And instead of fighting those parts, you can begin to understand them. You can begin to thank them for protecting you. You can begin to let them know that you are safe now. Second, create safe spaces for rest. Rituals that signal to your nervous system that it's okay to slow down. A quiet corner where you can be alone. A gentle breath that reminds you of your presence. A soft touch that tells you you're worthy of care. Anything that feels like safety. Anything that feels like home. These rituals are not indulgences. They are medicine. Third, practice small acts of surrender. Let go of the need to control every outcome. Trust that the world will continue even if you stop pushing for a moment. This is not about giving up. It's about letting yourself be enough as you are. It's about understanding that your worth is not conditional on your productivity. Fourth, reconnect with your body. Listen to what it's telling you. When it says it's tired, believe it. When it says it needs rest, honor it. Your body is not your enemy. It's your wisest teacher. It knows what you need before your mind does. Finally, understand that rest is not just physical. It's emotional. It's mental. It's spiritual. It's about finding peace within. It's about reconnecting with your essence. It's about honoring the journey your soul has been on. It's about allowing yourself to be held by the universe, to be supported by forces greater than your own will. You are not a machine. You are not a productivity engine. You are a being of light and shadow, of drive and rest, of action and stillness. You are a soul that came here to experience life, not to optimize it. Embrace the stillness. It is where your true self awaits. It is where your healing begins. It is where you remember that you have always been enough. If this video helped you understand why rest feels unsafe and how to begin healing this wound, consider subscribing, leaving a like, and sharing it with someone who might need these words. Your support helps this space reach more people on their journey of awakening, healing, and inner transformation. And if you're ready to keep exploring the deeper layers of your mind and reclaiming your wholeness, there are more videos waiting for you here.